Alright guys, so we're on our new unit, which is on fairy tales. And so we're going to start out our unit by reading two short fairy tales by this guy called Aesop. And Aesop lived about 2,000 years ago, lived in Greece, and he had this idea of telling stories, short little stories about animals or things that couldn't really happen, but they always had a lesson with them. They had this thing called a moral, which you'll see down here at the bottom. They highlighted, or not highlighted, but they made them bold, which I'm highlighting. And that's meaning it's the purpose, it's the lesson of the story. So while we read, I want you to think about what are the main events that are happening. I want you to picture them, all right? So we're going to start with this, the gnat and the lion. And if you don't know what a gnat is just like a fly. So here's a picture of a gnat. Kind of annoying little things, similar to a fly. So let's begin. The gnat and the lion. "Away with you, vile insect," said a lion angrily to a gnat that buzzed around his head. But the gnat was not in the least disturbed. So here's an event. A gnat is buzzing around a lion, and the lion insults the gnat and tells it to get lost. I think this event is key and important because it introduces the situation in the fable. So I'm going to underline it, or in this case I'm going to highlight because it'll show up better for you guys. "Away with you, you vile insect," said the lion angrily to a gnat that buzzed around its head. "Do you think," he said spitefully to the lion, "that I am afraid of you because they call you king?" The next instant the gnat flew at the lion and stung him sharply on the nose. This made the lion mad with rage, so he struck fiercely at the gnat. But the lion only succeeded in tearing himself with his claws. Again and again the gnat stung the lion. The lion was now roaring terribly. At last, worn out from the battle and covered with wounds that his own teeth and claws had made, the defeated lion gave up. So the gnat, he's stinging the lion repeatedly. This makes the lion angry, so he tries to hit the gnat, but strikes himself instead. The illustration of the lion shows how angry he looks. So let's look at that picture up here, showing how angry this lion looks, right here. And so that's helped me visualize the picture of the event in my mind. I can use that, but I can also use those words in the sentences to get a better picture. I'm going to underline / highlight this last sentence because it tells me the result of the fight. It says the lion is defeated. At last, worn out from their battle and covered with wounds that his own teeth and claws had made, the defeated lion gave up the fight. On to our last paragraph, paragraph 4. The proud gnat buzzed away to tell the whole world about his victory, but instead he flew straight into the spider's web. And there, he who had defeated the king of beasts came to a miserable end, the prey of a little spider. So the proud gnat flew straight into a spider's web and came to a miserable end, which sounds like that spider ate him. So I'm going to underline these phrases, flew straight into a spider's web and came to a miserable end, because they tell me what happens to that gnat. Flew straight into a spider's web and came to a miserable end. Pride goes before a fall, which is the moral of this lesson. The moral of the lesson taught by the fable. Here, it's stated as a proverb, which is another name for an adage. So if you want to sound fancy, you can say, "Hey, parents, the adage of this is pride goes before a fall." Proverbs and adages are short statements of truth or advice. Pride goes before a fall is the lesson given here. This means that when you are too sure of your own greatness, you don't pay enough attention to the things that can harm you. The gnat thought he was great for defeating the lion. He was like invincible. So he forgot that he should look out for a spider, something that can get him pretty easily. So I have these things that have been underlined, 1, 2, 3, and I want to take those now and write a summary. So we're going to put it in the margins. Mine's going to be kind of big so you guys can see it. I don't want 48, so I'm going to change it to 24. I think that'll be good. And I need to look at what I underlined and come up with a summary. What has happened? So a gnat is purposely annoying the lion. The lion tries to get rid of the gnat, but the gnat stings him. When the gnat flies off to brag to his victory over the lion, he gets stuck in a spider's web and becomes the spider's prey. The moral of this story is that if you think too much of yourself, you might overlook things that are dangerous to you. So I'm going to put that there. I had it typed as I was speaking, and I'm just going to copy and paste it. Oops, but it didn't really like that paste. So we're going to try it again, but just change the font size and see if it likes that a little better. Yeah, so we got it there, so now I just need to resize it. No, it's not liking it. So I'm going to try another thing for us. Let's open up a notepad, paste it in there. Otherwise, I will just handwrite it again. And let's type it in here. And let's resize it to see if it will fit. There we go. So now it's purposely annoying a lion. The lion tries to get rid of the gnat, but the gnat stings him. When the gnat flies off to brag about his victory over the lion, he gets stuck in the spider's web and becomes the spider's prey. The moral of this story is that if you think too much of yourself, you might overlook things that are dangerous to you. So now, we're going to look at our next fable by Aesop, our next story. It also involves a gnat, but this time it's a different gnat, because remember our gnat just kind of died in that spider's web. But it's going to be taking on a bull. So let's see if we can figure out what our key events are and our summary is going to be. So I'm going to get my highlighter ready. The gnat and the bull. A tiny gnat flew over the meadow with much buzzing for so small a creature and settled on the tip of one of the horns of a mighty bull. If you don't know what a bull is, there's a picture down here. It's like a cow with horns. After the gnat had rested a short time, he made ready to fly away. But before he left, he begged the bull's pardon for having used his horn as a resting place. So I'm going to highlight this part. Before he left, he begged the bull's pardon for using his horn as a resting place. He said, pardon means ask for forgiveness. The gnat said, you must be very glad to have me go now, said the gnat. It's all the same to me, replied the bull. I did not even know you were there. So I'm going to highlight this part right here. The bull said, I didn't even know you were there. The moral is, which was a short story, a short little lesson, we are often of greater importance in our own eyes than the eyes of our neighbor. So we're thinking we're more important than other people think we are. That gnat thought he was so important or such a bothersome to rest on the bull's horn. And the bull was like, you know what? I didn't even know you were there. You say, you were so small, you're kind of insignificant. Didn't even bother me in the least. So we have our two things highlighted. We could always highlight more, but I just have these two for us today. So this is going to be the summary that I have of what happens. A gnat apologizes to a bull for resting on his horn. The bull replies that he didn't even know the gnat was there. The moral is, which I guess is something we should highlight right here, because that is a key thing. It's the whole purpose for reading this story is what is the lesson. So the moral is that we often think we are more important than others think. So that's what I'm going to have typed in here. So again, I had that typed up while I was speaking. So let's put it in to our notes. Let's see if this one's going to cooperate a little better for us. Yeah, there we go. So those are my key details, my key events, and those are my summaries. So good job, guys. And we'll continue with our fairy tales tomorrow.